guys, so today is yet another requested video. I was asked to do a video about a corn snake. I don't have a corn snake, unfortunately, but what I do have is this Californian king snake, and they are kind of like up the same alley. Today I'm gonna do a video about my Californian king snake. She's a female and she's around 2 years old, maybe closer to 3. Her name is Barnaby, and yes, she is named after the show Midsummer Murders. Don't judge me, I'm a fangirl. She's looking absolutely gorgeous. I really love her. The Californian king snake, just like the corn snake, is a very common pet. Next to the ball python, when it comes to snake, I think they are one of the most popular, and that is for good reason. They're an absolutely gorgeous reptile to have. They are looking amazingly beautiful. Just as the ball python, you can get these in various colors. I really like the black and white Californian king snake. To me, that's what a Californian king snake looks like, and I think that's because my very first snake that I had a couple of years ago, actually a lot of years ago, back when I was only 18 years old, he was black and white and striped. That might be the reason why, to me, this is just what a Californian king snake looks. But you can get them in various colors. The Californian king snakes also get to quite a big size. They actually grow to be bigger than the ball python, around 180 centimeters. That's almost 2 meters. That's a big snake. If you get them to that, usually they are a bit smaller, but they can get that big. They're quite slim. They don't get too bulky, which means that they might look a bit thinner than what they actually are. But they can grow to be quite big, and I think that's quite exciting. The other cool thing about having a Californian king snake as a pet is that they are quite an active snake. You will see them slithering around the terrarium. If you have branches and stuff in there, you will most certainly see them using it, and I think that's really a plus point when it comes to the Californian king snake. You can actually see the snake being active in there. As with the ball python and the boas, usually they just tend to lay still on the same place. You will not see that, of course. They will relax, obviously, but in general they have way higher activity than the other snakes. So I highly recommend these if you want something a bit more alive. The most badass thing about exactly this kind of snake, which is also why I kind of fell in love with it, is that in the wild, not only does it eat other kinds of snakes, and it also eats birds, rodents, pretty much anything that it can put in its mouth, but it eats rattlesnakes, and that is so badass. This tiny snake that I'm just holding in my hand, which is just a pet that you can basically go buy anywhere, eats rattlesnakes in the wild. How badass is that? It's massively. I saw a documentary one where the Californian king snake was slithering up to the rattlesnake, and the rattlesnake was like literally twice the size, but the rattlesnake didn't move. It was petrified. Didn't move. It was just laying there. And then the Californian king snake was just kind of like slithering above it, having a look at it, and I was like, nah, that's a day, and then it just kind of went on its way. But that's badass. That's so badass. Which is also the reason why you should never ever cohabit. Cohabiting is generally a bad thing when it comes to snake. If you do it with a Californian king snake, there's a high possibility that they're gonna eat each other. So unless you're breeding and you know what you're doing, don't cohabit. In general, Californian king snakes can easily be handled like I'm doing with Barnaby here, very easily. He's very calm usually. There is a lot more activity in him also when I'm handling him, but that's quite okay. I mean, he's just curious, and I absolutely adore that. I really like when they're not just staying there. So you have to be aware that if you want a Californian king snake or a corn snake, that there is going to be a lot more activity. One thing that you may notice is that they too tend to be aggressive sometimes when you take them out of the terrarium, and they will show that by shaking the tail. It's literally shaking the tail like a rattlesnake. It looks, the first time I saw it, it looked kind of weird to me, but I had absolutely no doubt that that was a defense mechanism, and it really is. Basically, he's just saying, I'm really scary, don't come close to me or I will bite. Barnaby here, he has never bitten me, but he has given me the defensive pose, and the only time he did that to me was when he was in shed. Basically, he was saying, leave me alone. So unless that they've pooped or you really have to clean the terrarium, just leave them alone when they're in shed. The Californian king snake here is an aggressive eater, usually, especially Barnaby is. He's never ever refused a meal, and he will take quite large prey. Usually you say that the prey should not be bigger than the biggest part of the snake, but the Californian king kingsnake is capable of taking something that is a little bit bigger than the biggest size of the snake, and he will eat it. He will. He's never refused a meal, and he's quite aggressive. I mean, he literally almost like jump out of the terrarium. He's a very, very good eater, and I really enjoy feeding him. He takes frozen, and that's perfect. I always condone that. Or if not frozen, then pre-kill. There's no reason for you to feed live unless that your animal just won't eat. I have a few ball pythons who won't take dead, so I have to feed them live, but I offer dead every time. I really hope that I can turn them around in order so that they will take dead. As you can see, Barnaby here, very active, absolute gorgeous snake to have. They are very easy to house as well. I'm gonna show you that in a minute because I need to change his cage, not his cage. I need to change his terrarium, so you can take a look at that as well to see how I'm housing them. It's quite easy, and the good thing about the Californian kingsnake is that if you want a big terrarium, you can really go as big as you want. Some snakes, like the ball python, don't prefer a big terrarium because they can get stressed. Don't know why, they're very special, they can get stressed, but the Californian kingsnake, you can go pretty much as big as you want, in my opinion. Of course, you should always do your own research, so you really have the possibility of making a big, beautiful terrarium, lots of branches, lots of, you know, beautiful stuff, heights and all of that. And the Californian kingsnake is pretty curious. He will be anywhere in your terrarium all the time. Let's get a few close-ups and then let's go take a look at his terrarium. This is Barnaby's terrarium, and it's dirty, so I'm gonna clean it. As you can see, Barnaby here doesn't have the biggest terrarium. For his size right now, it's okay. He could use a bigger one, and I'm gonna get one as soon as possible. There we are. And again, as I talked about before, newspapers is the perfect substrate if you're in a hurry. If you don't mind it not being that beautiful looking, not natural looking, then you should definitely go for this. Newspapers are easy to obtain, they're very easy to clean. As you can see, I did this in less than a minute. So let's bring in Barnaby. Here we are. Barnaby as well is on a heat mat. Doesn't have a light. He's using the natural light, which there is plenty of up here. That was basically it. Alright guys, that's all for today. Short requested video about the Californian kingsnake. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure Barnaby did. Finally getting handled a bit. As usual, leave a like, subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, any comments, don't hesitate to write me. I really love when you guys are writing me. Also, you can find me on Instagram under the name jossersjungle. Well, that's all for today. Thank you and bye bye.